Hello, Toby. How are you?
I'm absolutely fine. Thank you. Thank you. Hope you're fine too.
I am. We have some interesting stuff to discuss. But first of all, have you noticed that this album comes out 25 years since the Avantasia single?
No, 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 not really. I think the Avantasia single came out in November 2000, actually.
Right.
Maybe not in the
It's,
US. Maybe I'm talking the European market, but it's roughly 25 years. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not trying to say that we are old. It's just that music has.
Yeah, no, no. I mean, we're not old in the big picture. I mean,
No.
like, go in relation to the age of the Earth. But yeah, 25 years. I started at a very young age, so that's why I feel still quite young.
Yes.
Not as young as I used to be, but that's a normal thing of not dying is to get old.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. Writing a story, composing this multi-layered music, and bringing guests seems like a huge project, right? How long did this time take you, and does it get easier with every album?
Um, um, I think it's never really been difficult. I have to say, I have to be honest with you. I whatever I do, I just do it naturally. I just follow my instinct, and it's all based on my drive to create music and to basically write diary. I write things down and I write down my thoughts. It's therapy. I derive great joy from sitting at the piano and playing just along and singing gibberish to come up with a song, and eventually the stuff I release is a byproduct of doing something on a normal Wednesday evening on my piano, having a glass of red wine and just letting out my feelings and turning them into melodies and harmonies and lyrics and songs. And what made it easier for me for this record in particular, I think, is that it's an absolutely free record. It was a liberating feeling to not follow a plot for the first time. Usually, when I wrote an Avantasia album, it was all based on stories, and I sat down and just before I started working, sat down and came up with a concept that represented somehow the issues I was dealing with and that I had going on in my head at a certain time always. But it was nevertheless always a bit of, I mean, following a plot can be a guidance, but it can also be a ball and a chain when you want to express your feelings. And for this record in particular, I just said, no, I'm going to throw myself into the waves. I'm going to just start to work on something. And I don't know where it's going to lead me. I don't know where I'm going to end up. I just want to go where there may be dragons.
Aha.
And so I wanted to come up with 10 individual little stories that would still make a cohesive magnum opus, if you like. And I think that's what the album's about. So it's never been difficult, but this time it all fell in place and came together um very easily, I have to say.
So now I think I have understood the meaning of the title because usually when back in the days, the dark ages, maybe when they had here be dragons, it will be usually an uncharted territory that may have
Absolutely.
dangers. So now
And
it's time to do that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought, with the type of music that I'm playing, and being inspired heavily by Ronnie James Dio and the
Mm.
classic topics of classic 80s hard rock and I don't want to say Dragon Slayer, but Dragon Rider metal. And so I never had dragons in my title except from a song called Dragonfly with that guy. So I thought it was time to finally get some dragons on a proper dragon metal album, and I just read the title somewhere on an ancient map,
Mm.
exactly as you said, to indicate uncharted territory where there may be potential dangers. It was used as a warning But I thought it's not a warning. It's for somebody who is an adventure seeker. It's an invitation to excitement, to a journey. And that's what I wanted to express. I was just going to uncharted territory and see what may come out. And I think I think it's a beautiful record, and it's as enchanting and magical as the records that I've done based on a plot and a storyline. And that's what surprised me. And it shows also that Avantasia has its DNA, and that's what I trusted in the beginning. That's what I was relying on, that whatever I would do, it would become an Avantasia record with the Avantasia feel and the Avantasia smell and the Avantasia taste and the sound. And yeah, that's and it happened. It worked.
I love to hear you so excited because you were. It's clear to me that you are invested in this. And as you said, there may be dragons, but there may be magic too, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I'm all about. Is going to. I mean, of course, the song "Here Be Dragons" speaks. It's "Here be dragons, here be magic, here be just you and I." It's just an invitation to a different world, like Alice in Wonderland, being invited down the rabbit hole to a completely different world. And that's everything I do. I mean, I am not escaping from reality because I can't deal with reality. No, I'm going to places, and that's what music has always been about for me. I'm going to places where I can find strength and where I can be me and where I can turn things that did not exist before into things that finally exist. I mean, that is the pure essence of magic. It's just you create something out of nothing, out of void. And that's what I did. And what I always did, even as a child, I escaped to my own worlds. And in the early days, when I was not an artist myself, it was those people like Blackie Lawless on my poster on my wall who said, I want to be somebody. And Ronnie James Dio singing about holy divers and sacred hearts and all the fools that sailed away.
Hmm.
uh, those were the people that invited me to their worlds where I could find strength. From being a bullied kid, it was being invited from D. Snyder on my poster, who told me, "Hey, Toby, we're not gonna take it. Come to
Right.
my world and you get out strong again." And that's how I really learned to not escape for the sake of, being a sissy chicken, but to get into a different state of mind, into a different world, find strength, and go out and say, fuck you, and do my own thing and find strength. And I still go to my world to come out and say, fuck you, not to you personally, but
Appreciate it.
that's no, I'm not a real bad
No,
person.
I
So
understand. Understand what
yeah,
you're saying. It's honestly the way you described. It's almost like meditation for metalheads because this is what we were doing. We were
absolutely.
cutting out the noise and focus on the stories and the music.
Exactly. And it gives you help. It's not like I deny reality, as some
No,
people would call somebody who is, disappearing in their own worlds. It's just I go there, I focus, I create something, I turn something. A song like Unleash the Kraken on the new album. People said, "What is it about?" Unleash the Kraken is about a movie where apparently there is a phrase called unleash or release
yeah,
the Kraken.
it
No,
is.
no, it's not at all. I didn't even know the movie. I just like the expression. And for some reason, I came up with that expression. And it's about self-conditioning. It's about when you make bad experiences, you can either become mad at somebody, which I was at the time I wrote Unleash the Kraken. I was really pissed off about somebody, perhaps somebody on the internet saying unfair things to me, which happens all the time because everybody knows Facebook is a place of idiots. Not only idiots, but many. And so what what I was really pissed off about something, and I thought, okay, I can go crazy and I can ruin and destroy something and want to kick somebody in the face, but I can also just go into my own little world, invoke a spirit of mine, conjure up a state of mind, a beast that will give me strength, that will protect me, and not like conjuring a ghost like in the movie Trick or Treat, Sammy Kerr going out killing your opponents and the infidels, but um but I wanted to conjure up a state of mind that would give me strength and protect me. And that's what I do. I try to turn something negative, take it with me in my own little world and turn it into something positive, and out comes a song that eventually is gonna smash the infidels and all the opponents. And in my little world, it was just a way to release pressure, and out came a great song that hopefully makes me and my family some money, and certainly it gives me a lot of joy. And I think that's what escapism should be about, and that's what this whole album to a certain extent is about.
If only people would release their Kraken by being creative and listening to music or writing stories, if only.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you don't do harm to anyone. You just gather strength. And what I do with my music, what I believe I do, I mean, I don't do it on purpose, but I think I'm like I don't know, I'm always turning my head towards the light. I mean, okay, in my case, it's mostly the moonlight because I'm a night owl. But and I love the moon and I love the darkness and I love the eerie stories. But still, in the end, always light prevails. And that's all I really, I never glorify negativity. I want to turn negative things into positive things, and that's what I do. And some people call it cheesy, and so be it. Fuck them. Every each to their own. But yeah, that's what I'm always drawn to the light in a way.
Absolutely. I want to go back a little bit to the title track because there is a lyric line there. You say, step in from Amusia town.
Mhm.
So this is also a neurological condition, right? Someone becoming deaf tone. Is that they cannot distinguish?
I
Uh,
use it I use Amusia Town as a metaphorical place, the place that doesn't understand what I understand, a place where the people are are I don't necessarily expect people to think the way I think. That would be arrogant because nobody perceives things exactly the way other people perceive
correct,
it.
correct.
But it's just a little empathy with how other people perceive their own little worlds, and how not we are all different, and we're so judgmental on things, how other people perceive things. We want to speak on behalf of everybody else. We want to say, okay, this is wrong. You're perceiving the wrong way. You're sexually deranged, or you're mentally deranged, and you're not like me, and it has to be like this and that and this and that. You know, leave everybody, let everybody be who they are. And Amusia Town is a place where people just don't have that sense for, I would say, for the fine little undertones of things,
Mhm.
the fine little noises that I hear, and in a way, it's just like where people just, but I believe what I see, I believe what I've been told, and I don't really think that I should be accepting what other people think. It's just a very, uh, a very, I don't know how to put it, but that's Amusia Town for me is a place where people pretty much don't have the antennas to have empathy for people who perceive things differently, and people for whom you know the the dream world is a little more important than to others. There are a lot of people who will just say, "I believe what I see."
Yeah, but
Yeah, if
that's
I
fine.
thought that way,
That's
it's
fine as long as you don't try to um, uh, pressure people to believe what you believe, right?
Yeah, absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
fine.
I'm,
That's fine.
everybody's different, and and that's why, I think there's room for everybody, and there's
Very
room. That's why I think the rainbow colors, for example, without, getting too deep into this, but I think it represents that there is a lot of uh, the color spectrum
respect. Yeah,
is quite big, and we should not be judgmental. Everybody can believe in what they believe, but don't just shove your opinion down everybody else's throat.
yeah, and this is the spectrum that we see in the rainbow is only the visual spectrum. There are outside those, so nothing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anyhow, I love that subject, but um, you have worked again with Rodney Matthews for the
Mm.
cover artwork. So I was looking at the goblins leaving the castle. Is there any connection between this cover and the Mystery of Time?
No, no, no. There's no connection at all. I had the title Heavy Dragons as we spoke about it, and I
Yeah.
just wanted to work with Rodney again because I know that Rodney is not flavor of the week. Rodney, today, if you need a cover artwork, the music industry will demand you to come up with an iconic little symbol that looks good on a tiny little mobile phone display because it's only watched on streaming platforms and it's just a throwaway, not very creative day and age. And I just wanted to go the opposite way. And I wanted to make a counter statement and said, okay, Rodney is not flavor of the week. Rodney is much bigger than that. Rodney is living art history. He's been working for Nazareth, for the Scorpions, for all these old great bands, Diamond Head, Magnum, Asia, and he comes up with real
Art.
great pieces of art. And I thought, I went to Rodney and I said, Rodney, I just want a dragon. And you do your dragon, just make sure if you make it this big as the artwork, it still has to identify and look like a dragon. It still has to be iconic if you put it in a, if you downsize it to a stamp. And that's what he did. And I sent him some lyrics of Avalon, the song, and
Mhm.
of Bring On the Night, the song with Bob Catley, and the song also. And I think he tried to incorporate also the song Bring On the Night, where all the people are, I think they're not running away from the dragon, but they're rather drawn to the dragon and going through the gate, Glastonbury tour, which was his idea, which was Rodney's idea to include it in the picture. And it's just, this is the trail of the people that fall by the wayside in the world of the bold and the beautiful, just like me. And this is, it's like all the people who come to Avantasia shows. This is a place, it's a safe space for the quirky, odd, dreaming, lovely fellows that don't want to compete in the world of the bold and the beautiful. And while we are all very beautiful, of course, but that's the trail of those people who are escaping into the night. And that's probably the picture that Rodney came up with on the artwork.
I have to admit, hearing Bring on the Night, hearing Bob Cadley, having the cover artwork by Matthew, it always moves me because my mind goes straight to Magnum
Mm.
and Tony Larkin, who passed away. So thank you for that. I mean, I have nothing else to say about that.
Thank you. And I have to say about this song, Bring on the Night, it was also, I mean, I was really, it was devastating for me when I heard the news. Rodney Matthews actually called me up to bring me the news of Tony's passing, and he said, "I want to tell you before you read it from the press statement that they are going to release later today." So um, we had this conversation, and it was like 6 months or something later. I was watching football, and I had to get up to play the piano, and my subconscious mind had dealt with it, had processed the thought that there will never be a Magnum album again that I will take home from the store the day of the release,
Right.
put it on the record player, watch the cover artwork, have a glass of red wine, and just watch the album and listen to the music. I thought that time is over, and it's been with me my whole life as a music lover. That's been a very important ritual for me. And subconsciously, I have been processing this fact, I think, for months. And all of a sudden, that one night I was watching football, got up, played the piano, and within 5 minutes, the song was there. Not the solo, but the melodies, the harmonies, up until the first, including the first chorus. And it came together like this, and I knew immediately this is a dedication and a tribute to Tony Clarkin and Magnum. And that's why I knew Bob Catley would be singing it right away. I knew it. And I never spoke about that with Bob. I think maybe later I did, but when we recorded the song, we were sitting next to, we didn't have to say anything. Bob was singing the intro, and after he sang the intro, he started to, at least his tears got a little, he
Mm.
was getting very emotional, and me too. I was hiding my tears behind my goggles, but it was, nobody was talking, but we all knew what this was about. And this sounds very cheesy, and some people will
No, no,
say,
no,
"Oh yeah, whatever."
don't.
But it was really it was a moving, a very touching moment for me too, and for Bob and for all of us. And yeah, it's maybe if at least in my little world, that's a little continuation of the magic of Magnum. While of course it's not Tony Clarkin and it's not Magnum, and I
I,
even the funny thing is I even tried to put the keyboards in there that work with the keyboard sounds that Magnum had used. I'm sorry, I'm speaking all my time away here. It's I'm really sorry. I always
no,
say like I'm the Lars Ulrich of Germany.
I love that story, and as I said, thank you for making me get teary eyes for this. Let's okay, so let's move forward because I know you're on that schedule. You have announced the European tour, and
Absolutely.
you've named that Arena Tour. So how big of a production are we talking about?
It's a very, very big stage production, and sometimes we'd have to go into real big sized arenas to just fit the production onto the stages. And we're gonna have fireworks, we're gonna have a big stage setting, we're gonna be I think 13 musicians, five singers, three backing and lead singers, me, so it's gonna be like five and three and one, that's nine lead singers potentially. We're gonna play long shows. We're gonna have fireworks. We're gonna bring a burning piano. We're gonna have some other stage props and a big stage setting, a built stage setting, not just a virtual one. And it will be a big stage production at the arenas. We have everything. It's like I think the smallest venues we play are large theaters, like 3,000 people theaters, and it goes up to I don't know 10,000 people arenas. So it will be. I mean, that's the curse of a big production, but that's been a childhood dream of mine. Always loved building Lego castles, and now I'm building my own giant Lego castle and bring it out on the road and show it to everybody.
So hearing you describing that huge production means there is no way to see this crossing the Atlantic.
We're gonna cross the Atlantic for sure. We're gonna do Latin America, and we're gonna bring our production for at least one show to Brazil now. That's the first show we're gonna do outside Europe in May. And then there is talk of a Latin American tour towards the end of the year, and I still haven't given up hope. If that's what I mean, we're going to bring it obviously to Japan as well, and I still haven't given up hope to bring it to America. That said, the whole show, and even if we scale down the production, we still so many people, and we still have a show, and it's not so easy. It's not as easy as bringing a four-piece band to the US. Last time we've been to the US, we played like 1 week or something. It was like five shows, and I lost a fortune. I mean, I'm really talking a fortune. I could have bought an Italian sports car for just what we lost in for those five shows, and we got good money for it. So, um, and economically, with certain without you know getting too deep into it, but some government decisions in the US are not really foreigner friendly currently, I have to say, without taking a side,
No,
and
no,
you
no.
guys make whatever you want to do. But I don't know if there's a reason to be optimistic, but as I'm always drawn to the light, and as I'm always a positive guy, I think where there's a will, there's a way. So let's hope. Let's see what Donald Duck is doing. So I'm sorry now. I said no, no. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Yeah.
No, seriously. It's not. It's not. Even last time I lost a fortune, and there was somebody different in charge. So no, there was Donald Trump too. I think that was 2019. Must have been. I don't know. Anyway, but it's not. It's not. The thing is, it's difficult. Whoever is your
Of course
president
it
and
is.
whatever the law is. So let's see what happens.
Please do because last time was again it was an amazing. So, last question: is there any activity from that guy?
Currently not, and there hasn't been in the last couple of years. but past couple of years, it is what it is. I really don't know what the situation is. I'm not very optimistic there's going to be another album
Okay.
because, it's just there are different. It's not always so easy. I have to explain. It's not always so easy when you get together as 14-year-old kids and you don't know anything. You start a band together and you start, living your dream together, and everybody develops very differently. And 10 years later, the situation is slightly different. 20 years later, now we're 33 years later. We all have started families. We've developed differently. And even though it's the band dynamics are very, I mean, it was agreed on that I was making the decisions and wrote the songs and stuff. It's still, you will always be that school band. You will always be that teenage band where everybody argues with everybody like brothers. And that can really take a lot of energy out of the whole thing, especially when you develop so differently. And whereas a certain gravity from outside also, pulling on something. So it's not always as easy as people assume it is to find a common ground, and you always I always say, even when you're the songwriter and when you're the band leader and when you make the decision, still you need to make five people happy. And I always think, or I always say, 90% of my energy in that band go into finding agreements and keeping peace, and 10% go into
Writing music.
writing music. And so, long story short, it became really, really difficult. And I think everybody is doing something different now. Some people outside the music business, some people inside the music business. And I really hope, because I love what we've done together, and I really cherish, the good times we had. It wasn't all bad. So I really hope that at some point we get up on the stage together and play some shows. But now is not the time for that.
Yeah.
But I haven't given up hope. So definitely, unlike what everybody says, or some people may say, the band has not split up. We could not even agree on splitting up yet. We can't agree on anything.
Toby, thank you very much for your time. Have great shows. I know you will have safe travels, and hopefully we'll see Avantasia again in Chicago.
Thank you very much. And I really hope to be back in Chicago, because the last show in Chicago, it was a great theater. It was a very poor light show because we didn't have much light there for some reason. I remember that. But it was a great theater and it was great. There was nobody from Chicago there, I remember. It was like, I don't know, the place was packed, but everybody came from somewhere else. But still, it was a great experience, and it was a great atmosphere in the venue. And I know there are many, many great heavy metal fans in the US, and I want to come to the States, and I will come to the States. We just have to find a way to make it work.
Absolutely. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Appreciate your
Thank
time.
you.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye bye.